Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this box. Now I did this on a live stream recently and I have previously made it quite a few times when I used to demo, so I used to quite like this box. And I thought I'd done a video for it, but when I look back I realised that I haven't. So here's the tutorial for it. So basically it's a self-closing box, so that's what it looks like from the top, that from the side, and I quite like it because it's faceted. And it's really easy to use, and you can make it out of a sheet of A4, so it's nice and easy. And basically when you just pop the top like that, that's obviously your inside, and you can put in whatever you want. And then when you close it up, just pop it like that and it just closes. And you haven't got to worry about Velcro or magnetic closures or ribbon or anything. So I made these two. These were made using Antonio Makes' papers. Don't forget to use code Louise 10 to get 10% off your order. So this is part of his most recent ones. This one I can't remember what it's called, but I will leave it up on the screen what papers these are. This one here is from the January VIP kit, so you can only get it if you're a VIP. So if you head over to Antonio Makes, again I'll put the link in the description below, but it's £45 for the year, and obviously you get 10% off that if you use my code Louise10, and you get a new kit every month. And actually January, there's 2 kits in January, and this was one of them. It's called Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, and it's just really nice. Just got some, I love this glittery paper, and so I've obviously added my own bling on it as well because I felt it needed it. But yeah, so head over there and have a look on there. But there's lots of other benefits you get to be a VIP. I'll try and link them all in the description below, so don't forget to have a look on that. But yeah, so let's get into it. So for this box, I'm actually going to be using these papers, and these are from Kokorosastudio. These were sent to me probably around Christmas time, and they're really nice. They're kind of that ink spot kind of look. And they're not actually foiled or gilded or anything, but you could easily gild them up. And I was considering doing that for this one, but because I've got to cut them, I decided I wouldn't do it. Because what I was thinking was you could sprinkle on some gold embossing powder and then just lay some greaseproof paper over the top and then heat it with the gun, and it would just, it wouldn't blow away because obviously you've got the greaseproof paper over the top. But yeah, you could foil it, gild it, do what you want with it. If you use my code ICED20, you'll get 20% off your order. So well worth going to have a look. They've got some really nice papers over there. Really nice papers. So yeah, get over there and have a look. They're a decent weight as well. And then I'm just using a purple piece of base card. Now this is 8 inches by 11.5. This is quite flimsy. I reckon this is about 180 GSM. So I would advise going a little bit thicker. You don't need to go too thick. Depends on your mats and layers, but you don't want to go too thick. But this is a little bit flimsy. But it is the same as the green one that I use. So this is from the same paper pad. And this is the same weight. And this has worked out okay. So I'm going to go with it and we'll see what happens. The only thing I need to be careful on is when I do the diagonal folds, I need to just be careful not to press too hard because it can go through your card. Okay, so starting with an 8 by 11.5, if you bring your scoreboard on, you're going to score at 5.5 inches and at 11 inches. And then you're going to turn your card round so that your tab is at the top, and you're going to score at 1 inch and at 6 inches. And then if you turn it round again on the bottom here, you're going to score. Okay, so really you want your tab, let me turn this over actually, you want your tab to be on the opposite side to the 1. Okay, so my 1 inches is up this end, so I want it to be on this side here. So you want to score halfway within this scored section, which is 2 3/4 inches. So just, you can either make a mark or you can score, because you're going to be cutting down that line in a minute. So I'm going to score it anyway. And then you've already got your 5.5 mark. You also want to make another mark, another score line at 8 1/4, again just until you reach this line going this way, and then you've already got that, so that's fine. So that is all the scoring that we need to do. Now I don't know how well you can see my score lines, Hopefully you can, but in a minute you'll see where I'm, where I've scored and everything, because I'll be folding along those lines. So now what we're going to do is bring our cork board in, and we want to score from, so this is our halfway, or sort of halfway, our 5.5 inch line here, and this is our 1 inch, like the top of our box. So you want to score from that corner where those two lines meet. You want to score from there to the top of this line here, which is your halfway, and then from the top of there to this end bit here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So that gives you a V, and then you're going to do the same on this panel, but just make sure where your tab is down the side, you go from where your 1 inch line hits your tab line, so that corner there, and you go to there. Okay, don't go up to like here or whatever, you need to go to the inside of that box. So the top of that line in the middle to that corner there where your two lines meet, and then from the top of that line there to the top right hand corner of the 5.5 inch line within the box, obviously. Okay, now I can't even see my lines that well, so I don't suppose you can. I'm trying hard not to press too hard, but I think in the process I haven't pressed enough. So let me just try and go over this score line again. Okay, so now what I want to do is these bottom lines that we did, we just want to cut them. Now the best thing I think to do is just to go from that point where the V comes down and you've got your line, go from that point and go just slightly to the left of the score line, and then go from there to slightly the right. So you're basically cutting your score line out. So you're notching it, but only slightly. You might want to notch it more later, but you can do that later. I wouldn't go too much to start with. Okay, so you see how much I've cut out there. Not a great deal, just a little bit. So you want to do that with all of your lines. Okay, so I've done these 3 here. Then this one here on the end where your tab is, again, just go from that corner where the two lines meet, just to one side of the score line, like that. And then what you want to do is just cut up from there and just cut up slightly. Okay, and you can cut that whole section out. So you end up with that. You can also trim this bit a little bit if you want. Okay, so you should end up with that. Now the reason why I kept turning the paper around is because my metal rule has a cork bit on it, but there's a gap between where the cork starts and the edge of the ruler. So if I put this down and I'm trying to go on the other side of that line, and the score line's here, then the paper is not trapped underneath the cork, so then it moves. So that's why I had to keep moving it around. Right, so now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish our lines. So we're going to start with the, if we start with the tab, and then we're just going to go ahead and fold all of our flaps down. If you want to, if you find it easier, you can actually fold this section here first before you start cutting all of your, your bottom flaps out. It's really up to you what you find easier. So all of your flaps are mounting folds. All of your straight lines that are going down are mounting folds. So this is a mounting fold and this is mounting fold. And then this one along the top here is actually a valley fold. Now my paper, I don't think I've scored it quite enough, so I'm just going to bring my ruler in and I'm going to bend my paper up against the ruler. And then all we need to do is go ahead and do our diagonal lines, and they're all mounting folds as well. So again, what I would do is just bring your ruler in line it up where it should be, bend your card up. You don't really want to crease this top bit, but some kind of creasing is kind of inevitable, so don't worry too much if you do. And then you're just going to obviously fold and burnish along those lines. So you should end up with that, hopefully. So all of your lines are now creased and folded. Now, this is the best time to start sticking your pattern panels on. So you're going to need 2 matte panels that are 4.5 by 5. So 4.5 in the height and 5 wide. And then 2 pattern panels that are 4 inches high by 4.5 wide. So if you've got directional paper, just bear that in mind, that your height is less than your width. So then what you want to do is on the back of them, and you've probably seen I've already done mine, on the back you want to draw these V's. So all you need to do is you need to find halfway along the width of your mat. So that is 2.5 inches. Make a mark, and then you're going to draw a line from your 2.5 inches to the top right hand corner and from 2.5 to the top left hand corner. Also, while you're in the middle of doing this, make sure you put a little arrow on it so you know which way is top, because this triangle is only slightly not quite an equilateral. Is it an equilateral triangle? Okay, so because it's only slightly not an equilateral triangle, when you go to put it on the box, it's easy to get it the wrong way around and then think it doesn't fit. So if you put an arrow on it, it just helps. So you're going to do that on both of those pieces, and then on the pattern one, the pattern panels, you're going to measure along the middle at 2.25 and make a mark. And then again, you're going to draw a line from that mark up to the top right and up to the top left, and again stick your arrows on. Now at this point in the proceedings, I would strongly advise, if you're using tape, put the tape on now, okay, because it's easier to stick it down with tape once you've, tape it now and then cut it, rather than try and stick tape onto a triangle once it's been cut. So I'm going to go ahead now and just add tape onto the back of here. Now obviously I'm obscuring my lines a little bit, but I'm going to be quite specific about where I put my tape. So I'm going to put it just around all 4 edges, and then what I'm going to do, instead of just like filling in, I'm going to take a piece of tape and just put it so that it straddles, because this is quite reasonable, thickness of tape. I'm going to do it so it straddles that line. So when I cut down that line, I'm going to have tape on either side. Okay, and then this way you can make sure that you're definitely going to have tape most places. You might end up with a little bit of a gap here, but I've got that there. I could do with maybe putting another little, I'll just put another length along the top there just to make sure that we definitely don't end up with any spare bits. But yeah, that should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead now and do the rest of the panels. Okay, so now we've gone ahead and taped them all up. We're now going to go ahead and cut them. Okay, so I've cut them all up. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick them all down. Okay, so I've gone and stuck down my patterns onto my mats. So now we just need to go ahead and stick them in the little relevant places on the box. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added those on. I really like these papers. They are amazing. So now we need to get ourselves some red tape. And what we're going to do is going to put some red tape along this tab here. Okay, so once you put your red tape on, turn it over, fold your tape over, and then fold it in half, and then just stick it down like that. Now, I feel like I've got a bit of an overlap. Oh no, not too bad. Okay. So yes, as I was saying, just fold that down and stick that on. I'm going to take the whole thing off. Be daring. Oops. Okay, so you end up with that. So then if you pop the bottom, you end up with like this square bottom, and you can see your box starting to take shape. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stick, actually before we do that, we're going to do the top section. So at the top here, I wanted to put a little bit of something bit of something nice at the top. So I've got this washi tape, and I really quite like this washi tape. And it's about the same size, the width-wise, as my red tape. And I always put red tape or normal double-sided on, and then washi tape, because I don't trust the stick on this. So we're just going to go ahead and add some gold along the top. Okay, so I've added on the gold tape along the top. So now we just need to stick the bottom. So what I suggest you do before you start sticking it is to put some glue or red tape on the inside of your flaps. Now bear in mind, obviously, that one is going to go down and doesn't need anything on it. So just put tape on 3 of your flaps. So, and also the other thing as well to remember is that 2 of your, so basically one's going to get, let me go through this so you understand. So one is going to go down, so that doesn't need any glue on it. The one that goes on top needs tape on it, but it doesn't need tape on this bottom section here. So this bottom section here doesn't need tape. It only needs tape on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line and a cross on. So I know that one doesn't need anything and that one is going to go on top. Then these 2 both need fully taped. So I'm just going to make sure I do a nice big cross and a nice big cross. Okay. So now when I lay it down and open it up, I can see that one doesn't need any tape. This one only needs tape on the top, and these 2 need tape fully across the whole thing. Okay, you can kind of do it as you go if you want, but I feel like it's easier to do it when it's flat. Because in the live stream, I didn't do it when it was flat, and I did struggle a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead now and add tape. Okay, so I'm going to start by peeling the partially taped section, the one where we only need the top. Now you can either take it all off or you can do it in, like peel it back. I'm going to try doing it all in one go. This could go horribly wrong, but hopefully not. So we're going to bring this up like this. I'm going to fold that over, try and get it pretty much square, and then this is going to go on the top. Now this is one of the reasons why I use wet glue, because it makes this bit a bit easier. And then what we want to do really is get our hand in here and help to stick it down. Yeah, so as you can see, I've gone slightly off on this one, so it's best to check when you're doing it. It's best just to check. So I can go ahead now before I stick that and just trim that to make sure it definitely fits. Obviously, if I'd have just stuck it down gung-ho without checking, I would have been in trouble. So I've just really mitered that now. So now if I put my hand in here, yeah, that is now fine. This side as well could do with a little bit of a trim, so I'm going to just trim that bit as well. So it's a really good idea. Stick your first 2 flaps down and then just have a look and see if anything else needs just trimming, because it might well be you do need a little bit of a trim. So they're both fine now. So we can go ahead now and stick those down. Okay, so there's your box. As you can see, it's pretty much square at the bottom. It does bulge a little bit, but that's fine. It stands up fine. So yeah, so it's quite a nice, as you can see, quite a nice box. The way I did the tape along the top, as you probably saw, I did it deliberately. So I just folded a little bit over the side here and then went round with the washi tape and then came all the way back and then added a little bit extra red tape on and then just covered it over and cut it flush. And then that way you can't really see where the joins are unless you inspect it. So yeah, so that's that. So I might just stick, I feel like it needs a bow or something on the top there. So I might do a little purple bow or something there. But yeah, it's quite a nice box, decent size. It measures from top to bottom, it measures about 6 inches. And width-wise, at the widest point, it is 5.5. So it's about 5.5 by 6 inches. But yeah, so it's a nice box. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to use my codes. If you're going over to Antonio Makes, don't forget to use Louise10. If you're going over to Kokorosastudio, don't forget to use Iced20 to get 20% off. So yeah, so please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. If you want to become a member, please do. Just click the join button below the video. And if you want to donate and buy me a coffee, then you can also do that. If you go into the main channel, head on to the banner, and then go on to about. There's a little button on the banner itself. But if you're on mobile, if you go on to about, you can go on there and there should be a little PayPal sign. So you can donate if you want to. That really helps me out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.